Drama awaits, only on Echoes of Love. The adventure begins with Daisy in her final days, lying in a hospital bed. She tells her daughter Caroline about the year 1918, when the train station was built, and how her father had attended the opening ceremony alongside Mr. Gatto, the South's finest clockmaker, who had created a large and beautiful clock that was installed at the station. Mr. Gatto had been blind since birth, was married, and had a son who joined the army and died, leaving him in deep sorrow. During the months leading up to the opening, he devoted himself entirely to working on the station's clock. At the opening, however, the clock ran backward. Mr. Gatto explained that the clock was intentionally reversed, in the hope that time might turn back and bring back all those lost in the war to live with their families again, perhaps even his son, to live once more. From the moment the train station opened, Mr. Gatto disappeared. Daisy asks her daughter to read the memoirs in her suitcase, which tell the story of a man named Benjamin Button in 1985 in New Orleans. He was born at the end of World War I on a very special night, as his mother died during childbirth. Benjamin was left in the care of his father, Thomas, who, upon seeing his son's condition and face, decided to throw him into the river. The police witnessed this, so Thomas fled and hid Benjamin in the entrance of a nursing home, leaving him on the doorstep before walking away. Benjamin was discovered by Queenie, a caretaker at the nursing home. Noticing his condition, she summoned the home's doctor, who said that he might have lost his sight and hearing, suffered from arthritis, and that his condition was not that of a child but that of an elderly man of approximately 80. Queenie decided to care for him until her death, following the doctor's instructions, and informed everyone at the home that he would be living with them for some time. Benjamin grew older, using a wheelchair to get around, and was treated as if he were a mother to the other children. They attended church weekly with his mother, and with support and encouragement, he eventually began walking without the wheelchair, using only a cane. By Thanksgiving 1930, Benjamin noticed Thomas watching him, though he did not know who he was. He met the person who would change his life forever, Daisy. They got to know each other, their friendship grew close, and he admired her. Learning that her mother was pregnant, he felt reassured that his own mother would take care of him. Mrs. Lucy came to the home with her dog, and Benjamin took an interest in her, learning to play the piano and develop a love of music. Over time, his body changed significantly, and his health improved. Benjamin went with Mr. Doze, who had been struck by lightning 7 times, to the ship docks to watch the boats and the river. Captain Mike appeared and offered anyone at the docks a chance to work with him for a day, as his assistant hadn't shown up. Benjamin volunteered as his assistant, thrilled to work on the vessel, and he developed a friendship with the captain. The captain invited him to an evening gathering where they saw Thomas. Benjamin agreed to stay at the location and spoke briefly with him before being taken home. One of his happiest days was when Daisy spent the night with her grandmother at the home. Benjamin took her on a trip aboard the ship he worked on with Captain Mike. In 1936, Benjamin decided to leave his past life behind and live at sea with the captain. He said goodbye to Daisy, promising to send her a postcard from every town he visited to keep her informed. The ship's crew grew to 7, and Benjamin learned from Daisy's letters that she had passed the entrance exam for the American Ballet School in New York City and had been accepted. Benjamin met Elizabeth at the hotel where he was staying. They began meeting daily, talking about their lives until dawn. He fell in love with her and learned that she had dreamed since the age of 9 of being the first woman to swim across the English Channel. The currents had been difficult, and after 32 hours of swimming, she stopped just 2 miles short of completing the channel. Their secret romance blossomed until one day he found a note on his door from Elizabeth, saying she was happy to know him, but she disappeared afterward. Captain Mike informed him that the ship had been drafted into the Navy. Indeed, Benjamin joined the Navy, and their vessel became responsible for maintenance, rescue, and salvage operations. They arrived at the site of a ship destroyed by enemy missiles and began the rescue operation. A submarine emerged from beneath the water and started firing at them. Captain Mike was injured, and their ship collided with the submarine, causing one of the submarine's missiles to explode and sinking both the submarine and their vessel. In 1945, Benjamin returned to the nursing home with his mother, Queenie, and settled there. He met his friend and beloved Daisy, whom he described as the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. He invited her to dinner, listened to the story of her life, and saw her ballet for the first time. He was delighted and impressed. At the end of the evening, they said goodbye, and they met Thomas, who was ill and near death. Benjamin asked him about his knowledge of the button-making trade. Thomas showed him his factory and spoke about his son and the night he was born. He also showed him the house where Benjamin's mother had lived. After his father's illness, Benjamin visited him one last time before Thomas passed away, leaving Benjamin his entire fortune. Benjamin then traveled to New York to see a performance by Leslie Ballet. He met her and learned that she was involved with her colleague David in the company. He apologized for his unexpected visit and left, resuming his life at the nursing home, helping his mother run it. One day, he received a message from Daisy's friend that she had been in an accident and was in the hospital. He went to see her and found that her leg was broken in a car accident, preventing her from dancing for the rest of her life. He asked her to let him care for her so she could regain her health, but she refused to let him stay by her side. He continued to monitor her condition from afar until reassured, then departed. Later, Daisy returned to live with him as he had wished, and they traveled together. When he returned home, he found that his mother, Queenie, had passed away, and he attended her funeral. He decided to sell his father's house to start a new life and bought a home for himself and Daisy, who opened a ballet school for girls. She also informed him that she was pregnant. Benjamin feared the child might be born like him and go through the same difficult experience, worrying he might not be able to care for the child properly. He heard on the news about the greatest woman to swim the English Channel in 34 hours and 22 minutes. It was Elizabeth, now 28 years old. As days passed, Daisy gave birth to a healthy, normal daughter. Knowing his own age was reversing, Benjamin sold his father's factory and ship and placed them in accounts under Daisy's and her daughter's names to secure their future. He decided to leave them, so the child could grow up with a natural father figure. Caroline discovered that the man who had lived with them all this time was not her biological father. Her real father was Benjamin, and she read all the cards he had sent her on her birthdays from India. After some time, Benjamin returned to Daisy and met his daughter Caroline for the first time, learning that Daisy had married Robert. As time passed, Benjamin began to suffer from Alzheimer's and returned to live at the nursing home, where Daisy cared for him day by day. He gradually regressed in age, losing his ability to speak and walk. In 2002, the clock that had been installed in the train station was removed and replaced with a digital clock in 2003. This was Benjamin's last glimpse for Daisy. He then passed away in her arms as a small child. Benjamin's memoirs end with Daisy's life on her hospital bed. Here we reach the end of the video. Subscribe for more.